Hey, how you doing? Today I'm going to go through some troubleshooting steps on how to troubleshoot slow or intermittent dropping internet. And the reason I'm doing this is because I ran into this issue for the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, but I didn't know I had an issue until a couple weeks ago or something. What was happening to me for years, I never have to reboot my modem or my router, really. I mean, for long time, like a year or however, like a long time, right? And for the last, I don't know how long since I've noticed, but at least the last couple months, every now and then the internet would go out and I would have to reboot the modem. And that never happened before, or very rarely. And it was happening like once a week, I would have to do this. And during what I thought was certain times of the day, the internet would just be kind of slow and laggy, but not enough to where it wouldn't work, if that makes sense. It just seemed slower. And I thought maybe Comcast is throttling internet at peak times or something. Right? What I didn't know until later was I had a Boston Terrier puppy I had got right now as of today about, I think he's like a year, like maybe 14 months old, like coming up on a year and a half. And what I didn't know is that at some point during that year and some months, he had been chewing on the coax cable, the cable that comes into the house and plugs in like a cable TV connection into the modem. And that is why I was having internet issues. And how I found this out is what I'm going to go over. And I'm going to go over the troubleshooting steps. And what you're going to learn, if you don't know, is how to diagnose if a slow internet connection or a dropping internet connection, when sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, is on your end, meaning the issue is in your house and with your equipment, or if the issue is on your internet service providers and your ISP. So I'm going to refer to internet service providers, ISP, from here on out. I've worked in the IT field. I've worked as a network engineer, and I have a decent amount of computer and networking knowledge. And I'm not the best ever, but I'm better than the average person, we'll say. So in all those years working in that field, only ever once have I come across an ISP that took the initiative and didn't try to put the blame not on them somewhere else when there's slow or inadequate internet. Only once. And it was for a customer in a different state, and it was a really small ISP. And that was the only time. Every other time, the ISP is going to say it's your fault. It's something on your end. Try doing this. They'll reboot the modem. And if they can get a connection to your modem, they'll say everything's good on our side. But a lot of the times, everything isn't good on their side. They don't want to dig deeper and they don't want to help. So if you're in that situation, which I wasn't because my dog chewed my cable, but I've had customers where it is their situation, and these customers are businesses, that need internet, like retail stores that need internet to ring up and get money and make money. And in those cases, you have to prove to the ISP that it's their fault before they generally, before they take any steps to try to fix anything, right? They'll try to push it off on something else, either equipment or your network or what have you. So that's what I'm going to show you today, how to diagnose it. And if it is with an issue with your ISP, how to prove to them without a doubt that it is their fault. And it's not that hard to do. Now, when you have slow or intermittent internet outages, dropping and what have you, what happens is you're going to have packet loss almost always. And by packet loss, and I'm going to try to explain this just as, as simply as possible so that hopefully anyone can understand it. So I'm going to do a ping test. What a ping test is it sends a little bit of data to whatever you ping, whatever target you ping, another computer, another device on the network or on a different network. You can do it by IP address. So this is another computer in my house. Or you can do it by name, which everybody knows what Google is, right? And if you want to do it continuously, which is what we're going to have to do, you can do a -T, and that will just continuously ping it until you stop it. And you can see here, this is what it should look like. You can see the bytes. It sends 32 bytes of data, and it'll have a response time. So there could be a couple situations when you ping like this and you're having issues. Some of these will time out. You won't get a response. You won't get a time. It'll just say timed out. Or there's different errors that can happen that you can get back, which mean different things. But you'll have drops. Some of the packets they either won't reach the destination or they won't make it back or what have you. You can see my internet connection is pretty rock solid. I don't have dropped pings. And you shouldn't have dropped pings. You really shouldn't. They should be very rare. Unless you're on wireless. If you're using Wi-Fi, you're probably going to have some dropped packets every now and then. I have a computer in this house on Wi-Fi. And this is the computer. And we're going to do a -T, and I'm just going to let this run while I talk. And we'll see if the Wi-Fi computer, has any dropped packets. But what was happening, like I said, is my internet would go out every now and then, restart the modem, and it would work. The chewing through the cable got to the point where, I went to YouTube to watch videos, and I went like this, and the screen, it got to YouTube after a while, but it was a long while. It was like 10 seconds it took, or 15 seconds. Something was obviously wrong. And once YouTube got to here, only like half of the thumbnails loaded. And it was just bad. Like, it took forever. And when I called Comcast to ask them if there were issues, because this had been going on a while, so I thought maybe they're doing something or they know they're having issues. And when I called them, they told me that my modem wasn't even connected. They were like, reboot your modem. It's not connected. Even though I was able to get to YouTube eventually and load Google eventually, it was so bad to the point they thought my modem wasn't even connected. So that's how bad it got. And, at that point I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? All right, they don't think it's on their end. So at that point I had to start, digging in and troubleshooting. So this is what you do. If you have a router I use pfSense for a router. It has professional capabilities and enterprise level features and stuff like that. So not all routers are going to have all the features that this one does. But if you do have a router that you can log into and look at, this loss rate right here, when I looked at it after I had called Comcast, was like 49%. That means that when I did a ping test, half of these pings weren't coming through. Half of my data wasn't getting to where it needed to go and coming back like it needed to come back to me, right? That's bad. So at that point, this is what you do to I had to diagnose, was the issue on my network? Was it on every computer? Was it not on my network and it was a Comcast's fault? And this is how you do that. All right, so I made this terrible network diagram. It's not a good network diagram, but it will get the point across. So basically, this is the Comcast modem, the TV cable, which is an RG6 cable, the coax cable that, old school used to plug into the back of TVs. That comes into your cable modem, and then your modem converts that to Ethernet, computer cable or Wi-Fi. And for most people, your router and modem, if you rent it from your internet service provider, your ISP, it's gonna have a router and modem all in one. So you just have one. For me, I just have a cable modem, and then my router, which routes traffic to different networks, is my pfSense router here. And the IP address is going to be 10.0.0.1. IP addresses, if you don't know what they are, every time you plug in a device or connect to Wi-Fi, your DHCP server will hand out IP addresses. Most of the time, that's going to be your router. So when you hook up a computer and plug in the Ethernet cable or connect it to Wi-Fi, the computer goes, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here. Can somebody please give me an IP?" And it sends out a broadcast over the whole network. And then your DHCP server, which is usually your router, is going to see that and go, "Oh, hey, there's a new device here. Here, take this IP address." And the computer will go, "Okay, that IP address is awesome. Thanks." That's a super simple way of explaining it. But usually it's Dora the Explorer. Discover, offer, request, acknowledge. That's how it actually works. So that's unimportant for this, but if you want to know, you can look up Dora, DORA, discover, offer, request, acknowledge. Or if you want to learn more about it, you can Google or YouTube, like, how do computers get IP addresses? And you can learn all about subnetting and networking and all that stuff if you want to. But this is going to be super basic, so anybody can do this. But just for a visual aid, past the modem is just the internet, other stuff. Everything on my network, this isn't a true statement. I have security cameras that are subnetted on a different subnet at my house and what have you. But just for basics, everything in your home is going to be on the same network, most likely, for most people, the average person. And it's going to be 192.168. whatever. Mine, I changed to 10.0.0.0. So my network is 10.0.0.0. My gateway, this is going to be important to understand. The gateway, which is my router, is 10.0.0.1. And then everything else on this network is going to be 10.0.0. And then this last number, the 1, is going to be a different number. So everything This is 10.00.14, 10.00.12. I have another computer, 10.00.10. I have all kinds of tablets and phones and stuff. Those are all going to be 10.00 and then a different number at the end. Now, when I say gateway, what I mean by gateway is the router that's going to route traffic out to a different network. So when you connect to Google or YouTube or a website, anything outside of this 10.00 network, right? Computers by themselves don't know how to get to anything else other than something on the 10.0.0.0 network, right? So you need a router to tell them how to route traffic out to other stuff, how to get out to the internet and what have you. So that's what a router does, and it also is a gateway. The gateway for this computer is going to be this router. It's the closest router or closest device that can get the computer out to other networks. That's what a gateway is. If you had a different, if I had more than one router and this computer was on a different network, the gateway for this computer might be a different router, if that makes sense. But again, a gateway is just the closest device that's going to be able to get you to a different network. You can think of it that way. So this is what my setup looks like, and I'll keep this open because we might need to look at it later. But I'll show you what you do now to diagnose if the issue is on your network or if the issue is with your internet service provider, your ISP. I lied. I said I was going to say ISP every time, but that hasn't been true. So command. And here's an interesting thing too. Let me see if I can remember this. Ping 10.0.0.12. So I'm going to ping the computer I'm on right now is my computer 10.0.0.14. I'm going to ping my server 10.0.0.12. And what I'm going to do, usually most computers, I want to stay on topic here, but usually most computers, the main hard drive is going to be the C drive that the operating system's installed on. So what I'm going to do is log the pings. So ping this, and I'm going to do -T, so it's continuous. And then I'm going to do one of these little alligator symbols. I don't know what they're called. The arrow. And then I'm going to name it ping server.text. And what this does after the T is this will make a text file and it will log all your pings, which you're going to need this if you're going to fight with your ISP and make them realize that it's their fault, not your fault, that your internet sucks. So I'm going to do this. Actually, you know what? Let's copy that, close that. I have old ones I did, I think. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to open up another command prompt. By the way, to open a command prompt, if you didn't know, just click this, CMD, hit enter. Or what you need to do sometimes is right click and run as administrator. And this will give you elevated privileges, which you may need for some things. So I just copy and pasted this ping, the IP or name of the device, and then -T, and then this. And you can see once I hit enter here, did that not work? Oh, you know what I did? Oops. I messed up. So dumb. All right. I forgot to put where it's going. So C:\/ and then name the file. That was just a mistake on my part. Now we can see that it showed up. Ping server. And this is doing a continuous ping. And it'll do that until you stop this. And then you can open this up. And you can see here what it just did. And if you scroll down to the bottom, if this was longer, which it should be, because you're going to want to run this ping like overnight for at least 24 hours to get a good estimation of what's happening and how much loss you're getting. But if you go down to the bottom, you can see sent, received, the lost amount, and the percent lost. Now, here's how you diagnose if it's on your network or if it's an issue with your internet service provider. You're going to have to do multiple pings. So we're going to open up 3 ping windows. Actually, we're going to open up 4. I lied. And I'm going to show you how to do this here. You're going to need to know what your gateway is. And first, I'll explain how to figure out everything. So once you open up the command, you're going to do ipconfig. You can also do ipconfig/all, which will give you more information. But I think ipconfig is probably good for what we're doing. So the IPv4 address will give you the IP of the device you're currently on that you've opened this command window in. This is the subnet mask. And because this is 3 255s and 1 0, that's why what I said earlier, that everything on this network is going to be 1000 and then a different number at the end to distinguish each device. That's because the subnet mask is 255, 255, 2550. If this was 255, 25500, then everything on the network would be 10-0, and the identifier for each device would be both these numbers would be different for each device, if that makes sense. Not important, but kind of neat. Subnetting is a whole different thing. No. Stop. So once we have this info, what we're looking at, if you don't know this already, is the default gateway. And like we talked about earlier, the gateway is your router. So for most people, if you don't own your own router or have a different router, it's going to be your modem. Your modem and router are going to be the same thing. And usually whatever your IP address is, it's going to be the first 3 and then a 1. So 10.0.0.1 in my case, but it may be 192.168.1.1, or, whatever. But you're going to need to know this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do ping the gateway, in my case, 10.0.0.1, but whatever your gateway is what you would want to do, -T. And if you're logging all this, then do the log command that I showed you, and keep a text file of each. So now we're pinging the gateway. This step is optional if you don't have another computer on the network. Obviously, you don't need to do this, but it is kind of nice to ping something else on your network. So ping 10.0.0.12, which is my server, or we can even do ping server -T. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, you know what? I think I restarted the server. Actually, no, it's on. It's working. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. Oh, maybe because I have my I know why. It's because I have my VPN on, I bet. So it can't do DNS. There we go. That is why. DNS is basically DNS is a server. Usually again it's your router. But there are DNS servers also. There are also DHCP servers, but DNS is how IP addresses get translated to names so people can understand them easy. And like I said, my VPN was blocking being able to ping from this computer to another one by name. So I just shut off my VPN. So we're going to leave this running. And then we're going to do one more. And this one, we are going to ping google.com. It could be anything outside of the network, but google.com is a good one because Google's not going to have issues. And basically what you're doing is you're pinging outside of your network. So now from this computer 10.0.0.14, I'm pinging continuously the server, I'm pinging my gateway, and I'm pinging Google, which is out here somewhere on the internet. And depending on where you get drops will tell you if it's your issue or if it's your ISP's issue. So in my case, when I did this test, when I was having issues, when my cable was all chewed up, what was happening is this ping to my gateway was just fine. I had no drops. And the ping to this, which is my other computer, my server, was just fine. I had no drops. But I was losing about half the pings to Google. I was losing this. I was losing half these. Half these would come back timed out or what have you. And what that told me was that I have no issues going here. I have no issues making it to the gateway, but I have issues going out to Google, meaning that my stuff was fine, but it was an issue with the ISP. But it wasn't an issue with the ISP because at that point I knew I didn't have to troubleshoot anything inside my network except for the Ethernet cable going from my modem to my router and my physical cable outside my house coming into the router, the coax cable. So I immediately looked under my desk at the coax cable and saw it was chewed up, and at that point I replaced the cable and I fixed the issue, and for me that worked. But what you would want to do if that's the case, you would want to, like I did, check your physical coax cable from where it connects to your modem all the way outside your house till it goes up the pole. And if that is fine, then you want to call your ISP, and you'll want to have these ping logs saved. And you can tell them, look, I can ping and get connection to other computers at my house, and I can ping the modem, my gateway, the router or modem, but I'm only having issues once it gets outside, right? And you can say, I've checked the cable and done my due diligence, and what's going on? It's your guys' fault. Like, I've done these tests. And at that point, they won't have a lot to say. They'll have to look into it if it truly is on their end. One other thing, when you're checking RG6 cables, coax cables, show you a picture here. You should undo the ends of them and look at the ends. Make sure they're tight, but also unplug them, like unscrew them, and look at the ends, because when you put an end on an RG6 cable, if any of these aluminum silver wires happen to be touching the copper, it'll ground out and it'll cause major issues. So if any of those are sticking out of here and touching the copper, that's an issue. Barrel connectors can be an issue. Splitters can be an issue. So if you're having, just replace any splitters in the walls or wherever if you have them. Like, make sure you replace those and rule that out if you're having issues like I was with dropped internet. Now, if you're having ping drops not out to the internet, like if you're having ping drops out to the internet and to other computers on your network, then it's probably not going to be an issue with your ISP. It's going to be an issue in your house, and at that point you need to troubleshoot further, which is kind of out of the scope of this video. But if you're on wireless, you may not be close enough to your wireless router could be going bad. It could be software related. I've seen a number of issues caused exactly like this, where the computer isn't able to work correctly, and it's just got terrible network or internet connection to other devices on the network because of software that comes with a motherboard. Like, any software that controls how the network works, don't install it and don't use it. So, like, managing network speed or anything like that, queuing internet traffic, like any software that wants to queue and manage how data goes over your network, anything that says network speed, like increase your network speed type of software, don't use that. It only causes issues. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That's the scope of this video, and hopefully that helps you out to try to kind of understand how to troubleshoot if you're having network issues, or at least figure out where the issue is and then go from there. Also, you want to try to probably replace Ethernet cables if you're using those, and so on and so on. But anyway, that's it. I hope you got something out of this. If you have questions, you can leave a comment. If it helped, leave a comment and let me know.